Did they really think you wouldn't notice? Did they truly believe you wouldn't feel it, that palpable tension, that shadow hiding behind smiling eyes? They underestimated the way your spirit listens, even when you keep your mouth shut. They thought your kindness meant blindness. They interpreted your silence as surrender. But what they didn't see was that every time they plotted, heaven was recording. They didn't just betray you, they touched the celestial throne, and now the reversal has begun. You remember that moment, don't you? That shift in tone, that look that turned from brother to traitor. The way they smiled with you on Sunday and plotted against you by Monday. They didn't just leave, they stabbed while pretending to embrace. And the pain ran deeper than anything they could imagine. Because it wasn't just what they did, it was where it came from. And yet, you said nothing. You could have struck back. You could have exposed the receipts. But deep in your soul, you knew the heavenly court was already in session. So you stayed silent while God sharpened his sword. For justice doesn't always begin with thunder, sometimes it begins with tears. And those tears were weapons. What they called weakness, God called strength. What they called defeat, God called data. Every sigh you breathed in the dark became an echo in the divine archives. They laughed when you cried. They mocked you when you prayed. They made you the target of their ridicule in rooms you never even entered. But here is what they don't see. Psalm 7 says, "The pit they dug for you, they are falling into themselves, because the universe does not forget injustice." And God does not tolerate mockery when it is directed at his anointed. If you are receiving this message, it was meant for you. They touched his most precious possession, and that means their time is up. Leave your confirmation in the comments. A single word, awakened, risen, justice, whatever speaks to you. Let us begin. The unbroken spirit. Now, you walk amidst the ruins they left behind. And yet, your spirit still stands firm, bruised perhaps, but not broken. Shaken, but still sure. Because deep down, you always knew they weren't mocking you. They were mocking what God put inside you. And that has consequences. You see, heaven doesn't need your enemies to believe in you. It only requires that you do not become like them. So you stayed pure in the midst of a chasm of betrayal. You stayed merciful in a time of mockery. And now, the heavens are shifting. Their curses are rebounding. The tongue that lied about you is tasting its own venom. They thought they were dealing with a person, but they were attacking a purpose. And that purpose is fueled by a true passion, protection, authorization, timing. The storm was never proof that God had abandoned you. It was proof that he trusted you to stand in the gale and keep praying. You didn't just survive this betrayal, you were activated by it. That pain released your anointing. That silence sharpened your discernment. That mockery crowned your path. And now, you are entering rooms that shine with the very oil they tried to wipe away. The betrayal was brutal, yes, but it was necessary. For if they hadn't tried to bury you, you would never have discovered how deeply God had rooted you. The betrayal started it all, but it is too late now. Karma has already left the throne, and it is returning at full speed. The silent prophet. You were never weak. You were waiting. They misread your silence as capitulation. They thought because you didn't respond, you had no flame left in you. But what they didn't understand is this: a prophet does not panic. An elect does not argue with the snakes in the garden. You saw it all. You felt it all. And yet, you sat with hands folded and soul still while the storm raged above you, because you knew heaven was watching. Silence is deafening in the spiritual world, and yours shook the foundations. While they were busy recruiting your enemies and repeating their lies, you were communing with the one who sits outside of time. You were bowed in prayer, face to the ground. While they threw insults like confetti, they thought it was over for you. They believed your tears meant you had cracked. But you were only weeping for the illusion, because you had to die to that fantasy. The illusion that they loved you, that they saw you, that they would be with you until the end. And once that illusion shattered, something powerful emerged from within you. The version of you they never wanted to meet. The version of you that doesn't flinch when sidelined. The version of you that doesn't seek to be understood. The version of you that understands silence is a weapon. Because when you said nothing, everything changed. Heaven leaned forward. Angels took notes. And the God of vengeance sharpened his justice on the blade of your restraint. You could have burned it all down, but you didn't. You could have humiliated them, but you didn't. You could have refuted every lie in a single breath, but you let the moment pass. And in that holy restraint, you provoked a divine reversal, for one does not fight fire with fire when one is called to carry living water. The divine verdict. Let them believe you are weak. Let them think you are naive. Let them peddle rumors, mock, slander, and twist the truth. With every lie, they sign a spiritual receipt, and heaven collects them all. Zechariah says you are the apple of his eye, and whoever touches you touches him. They didn't just abuse your trust, they violated the divine order. And heaven does not stay silent forever. This is why, when you stopped explaining, strange things began to happen. People started disappearing from your life without warning. The messages dried up. Their influence waned. Their alliances broke. It wasn't a mere coincidence, it was a correction. You thought your silence achieved nothing, but it was summoning justice in realms they cannot see. Your silence wasn't silence, it was thunder in disguise. And now, the thunder has rolled. They attacked someone who knew how to leave it to God. And that waiting wasn't passive, it was prophetic. It was the calm of the Red Sea before it parted. It was the pause before the fire fell on Mount Carmel. It was the silence of Saturday before the resurrection of Sunday. They didn't hear you scream, so they assumed you had fallen. But you didn't fall. You were recharging. And now, the sky is dark for them. For the very one they thought they buried is rising, with heaven behind them. It is too late for apologies. Too late to manipulate. Too late to change the narrative. Heaven is already in motion, and the silence is turned into a sentence. They thought God wasn't watching because he didn't strike them down in the moment. They assumed he wasn't listening because the thunder didn't roll instantly. They thought heaven approved. But the delay of justice is not its absence. God does not forget. He simply lets the rope grow long enough to catch every hand involved. They moved in secret, thinking you would never find out. They whispered behind your back as if God were deaf to dishonor. They invented stories, created illusions, and allied with liars, not knowing they were being watched by the unseen. For heaven possesses a surveillance more precise than any camera on earth. And the eyes of the Lord sweep over everything, not only to strengthen the righteous but to record the designs of the wicked. They didn't just attack you. They formed alliances, small spiritual coalitions steeped in confusion. They thought they were safe in numbers, that if enough people agreed, the lie would eventually pass for truth. But truth does not need a vote. It stands even when outnumbered. And now, one by one, those alliances are cracking. They can no longer maintain the lie, it is too heavy. The net is collapsing. Those who swore to protect the secret are revealing it under pressure. The false prophets are losing their grip. And the spirits that fueled the betrayal are being dragged back into the light. It is a divine unraveling, the kind that doesn't just embarrass, but exposes. You see, when God allows you to go through a betrayal, it is never just about you. It is about lifting the veil, showing what was hidden in plain sight. Because you were sent like a seed into the soil of a corrupt system, and your presence irritated everything impure in the atmosphere. You were the alarm, the spiritual fire alarm. As soon as you walked in, everything started to shake. But instead of repenting, they attacked you because they couldn't cast you out. So they tried to wear you down. But what they didn't understand is that you weren't alone. The blood of generations cried out through your DNA. The favor of your ancestors whispered in your steps. Angels surrounded you while you wept. And while they laughed in their group chats, heaven was preparing a scroll covered in their fingerprints. The smear campaign, the false counsel, the witchcraft disguised as concern. It is all in the report. Signed, stamped, sealed. And now, the alarm has been triggered. Judgment doesn't always come with lightning. Sometimes it manifests as silence, a sudden drop in popularity, a reversal of fortune, a mysterious illness, a messenger exposed, a job they thought was secure gone without warning. God doesn't need to shout when he decides to act. He only rearranges reality. And you don't even need to lift a finger. For the same God who said vengeance is mine, is the same God moving the chess pieces behind the scenes. Checkmate is near, and those who mocked you will have a front row seat to the outcome they themselves provoked. It is too late to turn back. The scroll is open. The hearing is underway. And the judge has ruled that you were never the villain. You were the vessel. They thought they had delivered the final blow. They thought they had annihilated you by walking away, that the silence after the slander was your last breath. That this rejection would destroy you. But what they didn't see was the hand of heaven catching the arrow in mid-flight. What they didn't foresee was divine intervention. You remember that day, don't you? When the pain was so intense it felt like your chest was breaking. When you stared at the ceiling wondering if it was worth it. When you were about to let go, but something held you. Not your strength, for yours was gone. Something greater, something sacred. That something was him. Their goal was to bury you, to destroy your name, to extinguish your flame. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still rising. You have been chosen. For what they didn't understand is that God tends to intervene just before the seal of the tomb closes. They rolled the stone, but they rolled it too soon. Your resurrection was not cancelled, it was calculated. That moment when everything shattered was the veil tearing. It was the sound of the heavens preparing for your unveiling. They tried to bury you under gossip, stress, financial chaos, and emotional sabotage. But the earth refused to hold you. Even the ground knew this one was marked. You were not destined to stay down. And while they celebrated your defeat, you were living your moment of rebirth. Heaven whispered, "Come out." And even though your hands were spiritually tied, the command was enough to make the grave tremble. They thought it was over, but God hadn't even started. Because the final blow missed its mark. It grazed your heart but could not stop it. It shook your spirit but could not silence it. It troubled your peace, but it could not cancel your promise. This is the nature of divine purpose. It absorbs the blows meant to kill you and transforms them into fuel. Every attack only fanned the flames. Every slander sharpened your discernment. Every rejection brought you closer to divine precision. And now, they are at a loss because nothing they tried worked. Nothing they planned succeeded. The more they pushed you, the higher you rose. The more they laughed, the deeper you prayed. The more they mocked, the more heaven marked you. They should have known. When a chosen one is targeted, it is never the end, it is the initiation. And you are passing the test because you never gave up. You cried, but you did not curse. You suffered, but you did not harden. You screamed, but you did not surrender. In this, you reflected Christ. Remember when they thought the cross was the final blow? They didn't know the resurrection was already scheduled. Like Jesus, they pierced your side thinking blood meant defeat, but blood always signifies a covenant. The spiritual boomerang and the covenant still speaks. It speaks when you walk into rooms they tried to bar you from. It speaks when favor finds you without you even seeking it. It speaks when peace invades your mind in the very place they left you to drown. The fatal blow didn't land because your covering is ancient. Your calling is too loud. Your angel is too vigilant. The weapon was formed, but it did not prosper. Now, those who orchestrated it are facing the consequences. It is too late now, the shift is already moving through their houses. You feel it, don't you? The air is different. The silence surrounding you is no longer synonymous with loneliness, it is strategic. It is the kind of calm that comes just before the situation turns, because those who tried to bury you are now buried by the very consequences they mocked. The spiritual boomerang has left the throne and is moving fast. What they released into the atmosphere is returning to them, hotter than before, heavier than expected. You don't target the chosen and expect it to cost you nothing. This isn't vengeance, it's the return. It isn't karma, it's a correction. You sowed mercy, they sowed malice. And now, the harvest is knocking at their door. Divine poetic justice. You can see it already. What used to work for them is falling apart. Opportunities are shrinking, relationships are breaking, favor is vanishing. This isn't random, it is what happens when heaven begins to restore balance. They didn't just speak against you, they spoke against the covenant attached to you. They didn't just slow you down, they tried to interrupt a generational mission. And God does not play with that. Every thought of sabotage, every envious look, every false agreement, every time they nodded at a lie instead of defending the truth, it is all coming back. And it doesn't return empty, it returns as a finished product. When you strike a vessel, God fills it. That is why you don't have to fight back. You don't need to argue. You don't have to give your side of the story or prove your innocence. God is proving it for you, and He does it in a way that hurts where it matters most. God is a master of poetic justice. The one who lied about your reputation now faces the truth. The one who blocked your path is now stuck in a dead end. The one who laughed while you cried is now drowning in their own storm. This is not punishment, it is fulfilled prophecy. He said, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. You didn't ask for this justification, but God provides it anyway, not out of spite, but because they need to learn. They need to see what happens when you play with destiny. They need to feel what happens when you breathe war into a vessel marked by heaven. The upgrade of betrayal. Continue to shine. Keep walking with a peace that makes no sense. Live as if nothing was ever taken from you, because nothing that belongs to you can ever be stolen. It simply returns later with interest. You are entering a season of reward, and it is happening right in front of the people who mocked your suffering. This is the power of divine timing. The lies were loud, but the truth is louder. They built their narrative like a fortress, brick by brick, rumor by rumor. They whispered until it sounded like scripture. They turned your silence into guilt and your softness into manipulation. You watched people you loved walk away. You saw friends switch sides without asking you a single question. But lies eventually rot. The truth stands firm. Everything built on dishonor will collapse under divine pressure, and now it is crumbling. One by one, the stories are unraveling. The timelines don't match. The testimonies contradict. The mask is slipping, and the energy is panicked because deep down, they know they touched the sacred. You were designed to survive the storm. You didn't defend yourself with fists, you defended yourself with faith. You let the lies pile up because you knew the crash would be more violent when the truth hit them like a wave. And now, the wave is here. The prophet's presence. Something has changed in you. The pain broke you, but what came out wasn't bitterness, it was glory. You don't walk the same. You don't talk the same. Betrayal didn't just hurt you, it upgraded you. Now, your atmosphere speaks before you do. You carry a weight. There is a divine tension in the room the moment you enter. Some people can't look you in the eye anymore. Not because of what you did, but because of who you have become. You aren't petty, you are powerful. You aren't loud, you are formidable in spirit. Your presence is prophetic, it convicts the impure and comforts the broken. Before you asked, why do people act weird when I arrive? Now you know. It's the oil. The fire you carry disturbs the demons they've entertained. Your joy reveals their bitterness. Your silence interrupts their manipulation. You have healed beyond the need for closure or revenge. You simply are. You are holding the keys now, keys to atmospheres, keys to inheritance, keys to territory your enemies didn't even know existed. They didn't stop you, they shaped you. Like fire refines gold and pressure makes diamonds, they catalyzed exactly what they feared most. You are no longer the person you were when they betrayed you. You are the consequence, and that consequence is sacred. You wake up with a peace they cannot manufacture. You laugh without fear. And that alone is a sufficient divine punishment. While they sit on the ruins of what they tried to build on your name, you are walking in the gardens they swore you would never reach. It is too late. You have become the very prophecy they tried to bury. The reversal has arrived. You aren't dreaming, and you aren't in denial. Heaven is confirming what your spirit already knows. You have entered the season of divine renewal. It is no longer just spiritual, it is physical, tangible, and visible. They see it. You used to wonder if they felt any guilt. Now, you can see it on their faces. That flinch when they pass you. That sudden unease in their voice. They know. They feel the shift in the air when you walk by. Something has moved in the spirit, and those who cursed you lose their breath the moment you enter the room. The presence they once mocked now intimidates them. The same mouths that once tarnished your name now struggle to form sentences in your presence. Those same eyes that once looked down on you in disdain can no longer meet your gaze. This isn't pride, it is proof. You have become undeniable. Heaven is not merely restoring you in private, it is rewarding you publicly. Divine receipts are everywhere, unexpected promotions, random checks, delayed blessings suddenly appearing. You are finding new friendships rooted in purity and peace. The places that once drained you now feel light. Doors that were sealed now open without effort. The panic of the enemy. As for your enemies, they remain silent. But this silence isn't peace, it is panic. They watch you from a distance, trying to understand how you are still standing, how you are glowing, how you are laughing again. They cannot fathom how what should have broken you only produced more grace. You aren't just surviving, you are flourishing. It disconcerts them because they cannot explain your stability. They cannot explain how everything they intended for harm paradoxically propelled you further. This isn't luck, it is Romans 8 verse 28 in real time. Every betrayal became a stepping stone. Every setback was preparation. Every tear was a seed for this harvest. Even your sleep is more peaceful now. You wake up with the certainty that something has shifted and that no human hand can stop it. The final verdict. The court is in session, literally, not metaphorically. You were the case that no one could bury. Every tear you shed became evidence. Every sleepless night, every whispered prayer, every time you chose to forgive instead of fight, it was all recorded. Angels carried your file directly to the throne. And now, the gavel has fallen. The verdict is in. You were never crazy, never unstable, never dramatic. You have been tried, and you are exonerated. God is not just healing your heart, He is honoring your name. You have been justified by fire and endurance. Can you feel it? That weight in your chest that persisted for years is vanishing. The shame that hung over you like a shadow is breaking. Guilt that was never yours is being returned to sender. The judge of all creation has stood up to defend you. You thought you were being punished, but you were simply being processed. The heavenly court does not rely on public opinion, it moves on truth. You are walking out of that courtroom clothed in a robe of righteousness, not because you never made mistakes, but because your heart stayed pure in the abyss. You didn't strike back when you had the chance. You didn't curse those who cursed you. You let heaven fight, and heaven won. The ascension. Those who mocked your tears are now dodging the arrows they launched. Every weapon forged is reaching its return to sender phase. The pit they dug is swallowing their own peace. This is Psalm 7 in your reality, the wicked falling into their own traps. Now, rooms are waiting for you. People ask, how did you survive that? And the only answer is grace. Raw, irresistible, divine grace. Your restoration isn't coming, it is here. And it isn't just about getting back what was lost, it's about the interest added to it. Years of tears are being paid back in joy. The friends you lost are being replaced by a spiritual family who sees the real you, the anointed, the sacred, the one who stayed standing when everything said you should have collapsed. You hold spiritual authority now. You don't have to announce it, it follows you. Your enemies feel it before they even see you. It is too late for them to appeal the decision or rewrite history. Your destiny is sealed with a stamp, approved by fire. Restored and free you are rising now, and no one can stop it. Not a word, not a weapon, not a curse. You are evolving at a speed they cannot comprehend. Restored and free you are rising now, and no one can stop it. Not a word, not a weapon, not a curse. You are evolving at a speed they cannot comprehend.